Welcome along to today or this evening's webinar. Delighted to be joined by the team from Gustavus Adolphus College in Minnesota. I'll give some quick introductions. We have Tyler Oliver, who's our main guest today, who is head coach of the men's soccer team. And we're also joined by Joy Reese from the Dean of Admissions team. So delighted to have you both with us today. Welcome along to everybody. Thanks for joining us, and hopefully you will find today's webinar insightful and informative. Quick introduction. My name is Ross Duncan. I head up the marketing team here at First Point USA. I am based in Glasgow, and I'll pass you quickly over to Tyler, who will make a quick introduction about himself first. Tyler.
Hey guys, I'm Tyler Oliver. I'm the head coach at Gustavus Adolphus College. I've been here about 15 months now. Previously, I was the head coach at Hamline University, another MIAC school, for about 18 months, 2 years in the fall. And then before that, I was at Gustavus as well as an assistant coach and associate head coach from 2019 through 2022. And then before that, I played 2 years of Division I soccer at Eastern Illinois University, and then 2 years of Division III soccer at St. Thomas University.
Thanks, Tyler. And Joy, do you want to say a few words about yourself?
Sure, absolutely. My name is Joy Reese. I'm the Senior Assistant Dean of Admission and the Coordinator of International Recruitment here at Gustavus. I've been here a little bit longer than Tyler, 20 years. So, but I worked in admissions for a long time. I enjoy it. I love working with international students, and I'm here to fill any blanks on our application, admission, financial aid process, as well as any other general Gustavus questions.
Great, thanks to you both. So just a couple of quick points before we kick off the questions. We are recording the webinar today, so if you happen to miss any of it or have to duck out or have to leave before the end, we will share a recording with everybody who's registered for it. I've got a series of questions I'll be asking Tyler. But if you do have any of your own questions, feel free to pop them in the chat box, which is on the platform here on Digital Samba, and we'll either ask them as we go through, or more likely we will pick them up at the end and have a bit of a discussion about that. So great that everybody is with us tonight. As I said, we will hopefully you'll glean a lot of information out of this. I know we've done a tennis webinar with the guys at Gustavus before as well, and that was really useful. So I'm sure there'll be a lot of eager prospective college soccer players on the webinar today, and hopefully you will leave this webinar with a lot more insights than you came onto it with, particularly around the opportunities at Gustavus and college soccer at NCAA Division III level. So, and on that point, Tyler, just to kick things off then, a lot of international players, maybe the default is looking at Division I. So if you could just explain a little bit about the differences between Division III and Division I for anyone who might not be familiar with the division system in the US.
Yeah, absolutely. Funny story. It's like when I worked for Tudor, when he was here, he was like, "Oh, like it's Division III school." When he was coming over the States to play, he goes, "We'll get promoted in Division I over my time here." Sadly, he found out that was not how it worked once he got to St. John's. So, no promotion relegation in college soccer. So Division I is the top tier of U.S. soccer. Then there's Division II, Division III. Ultimately, no matter what level you end up finding your home at in NCAA soccer, like really talented players across the board. Got experience it both firsthand as a player and a coach. Get to coach a number of Division I guys in the summer as well. When I coach USL2, I'm also USL2 sporting director. But I'd say some of the biggest differences are like the Division I route is a little bit heavier on an international side of things. I think it's north of 50% of all Division I athletes right now on the soccer side of things have international backgrounds or ties. Division III route, that percentage is much lower. Don't know it off the top of my head. And I'd say one of the biggest things that kind of is a draw for international students to the Division III level first is transfer portals become much more popular these days. So when you come to a Division III program, top 25, top 50, if you're also probably then still getting recruited by Division I schools, you're choosing a Division III school over that Division I school potentially because of the academic fit, academic rigor. Private liberal arts colleges tend to be bang for your buck a little bit better from what you're looking at postgraduate salary wise. And then kind of playing wise, what we've kind of found from coaching in the summer as well as our players transferring up, is if you come to a Division III school and you're an all conference, all region, all American level player, it probably puts you on par with most upper mid major, lower power four players as far as ability, especially if the ones that are not playing are getting minutes. And if you're going to a bottom, maybe 75, 50 Division I program, still impressive, obviously. But if you're going there and sitting on the bench as compared to maybe playing for 4 years, what we've found is that when our guys go and play against them in the summers, their experience, not to mention their happiness levels, are vastly different. But if you're playing meaningful minutes over 4 years, you're going to pass up those lower end Division I guys that aren't getting maybe the meaningful minutes that they otherwise thought they were going to get.
Great answer. And again, hopefully that will give a little bit of background as to the differences. I know that's a question that we get asked quite a lot, so appreciate your answer from that one, Tyler. And then just moving on to your own program, then you've been head coach with the Gusties for the past around 18 months, and we were just talking at the start of the call there how you had a pretty successful first full season in charge. Can you just tell us a little bit about where Gustavus sits in the D3 rankings? You obviously qualified for the national championship at D3 level last year, and a bit of a powerhouse in the MIAC conference as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Our soccer team has been very successful over the last, I don't know, I'd say go as far as 30, 35 years plus, but we're not one of those teams where all the championships kind of came back before the people listening to this call were alive. So Gustavus men's soccer, we have the most MIAC regular season championships in conference history and the most MIAC playoff championships in program history. And you could even draw a line back 15 years from now. And then we've had the most championships since then as well, too. So, well, you guys have kind of been alive. And then as far as kind of like the athletic department as a whole goes, I was kind of talking to Russ about it earlier. Our athletic department as a whole at Gustavus, out of our 22 sports teams that we have, I think it was 14 or 15 of them won a conference championship last calendar year or went to the NCAA tournament. So it's not like we're just one good team at the school. It's the entire athletic department is pretty unique and pretty special. And I know it's a pretty big bond for our athletes, is that they're not just one team doing their own thing. It really is 22 groups that support each other. You get to play in front of fans on a consistent basis and be surrounded by other kind of like-minded, motivated athletes. And then soccer recent history, we've been to the NCAA tournament in 7 of the last 8 seasons. We've been ranked in the top 12 of the country for Division III in each of the last 6 seasons. There's roughly 425 Division III soccer programs, so it put us in kind of the top 3, top 4% of all Division III. We've had people go on and play professionally in the Netherlands, Germany, as well as in the US. So there's pathways forward, which is one of the things that people don't think is really possible at the Division III level. Like, oh, if I go there, I'm not going to end up going to playing professional. Again, when you're in that top 25, top 10 Division III tier, and you get those all region, all American awards, you're going to get opportunities to play in the summer at a high level here, and then as well as after college professionally.
Fantastic, and really successful program as you've outlined, and we'll maybe touch upon some of those opportunities beyond your 4 years at college later on in the discussion. And I know one of the questions that we get a lot, particularly from international candidates, Tyler, is the travel involved. Obviously, for those that might not have explored much of the States, how far do you guys travel in your kind of regular season, and what can a student expect in terms of seeing a bit more of the country?
Yeah, it's a little bit different geographically than your guys' makeup over in England or just broader Europe in general. Like driving from northern Minnesota to southern Minnesota, you could cover about 6.5 hours just in that one drive alone. I know that can pretty much get you across all of England at that same amount of time. So anything that's under like a 4.5, 5 hour drive, we'd take a nice coach bus. 56 passenger. Whenever you travel, everything is included by the program that you're traveling with. We've taken trips via plane to Colorado, California, and Pacific Northwest into Oregon as well in the last 12 years as a program. So we do a lot of domestic traveling. Our conference for the MIAC, we sent 4 teams to the NCAA tournament last year. There were only 3 conferences in the country that sent 4 teams for soccer. It was the MIAC, the NESCAC, and the UAA. Obviously, the NESCAC and UAA are probably 2 of the most prestigious academics conferences across Division III. MIAC, fantastic liberal arts conference as well, with schools like McAllister, St. Olaf, Gustavus, Carleton. So that's kind of why we're able to compete with a lot of those kind of top 10, 15 schools in the country, like academically, just given that we are surrounded by other kind of very prestigious schools. And as far as kind of like the camaraderie of the conference goes, we've sent more than one team to the NCAA tournament as well every single year. I want to say going back to 2017. So it's not like we're just a one horse race. You truly do get to compete against the best Division III programs in the country. There's a thing called the NPI, which is used to determine schools that make the NCAA tournament. The MIAC had 7 teams in the top 70 of the entire country this last year. And I know our schedule at Gustavus for 2026 has 11 teams ranked in the top 100 of the country on it. So you do get to play against, again, the best conference is in the country, but best teams in the country as well too.
Brilliant. So a lot of opportunities to travel, and just touching upon that, what does the season look like again for those that might not be familiar with the college soccer season? It's typically pretty stacked in the fall season. Can you just describe how that kind of pans out over your 2 semesters?
Yeah, absolutely. So there's not much of a difference between Division I, Division II, and Division III soccer as far as fall in season goes. Your biggest differences will come out of season in the spring at that point in time. But so basically for all 3 divisions, your day in the life in the fall is you're going to have either practice or games 6 days a week. The NCAA mandates 1 off day a week that you have to have. Most schools, it's 16 or 15 credits. It typically ends up being 4 or 5 classes. If you're a 4-credit school, it's 4 classes at a time. If you're a 3-credit school, it's 5 classes at a time. But roughly it's kind of same amount of class breakdown what you're looking at. We typically have 2 classes for our student athletes on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, 2 on Tuesday, Thursdays. So they're roughly in class for 2.5-ish hours a day throughout the given week. At Gustavus, we have mandatory kind of like dead period at the school from like 3:30 to 5:30, and that's typically where our athletics teams do their most practicing. That way, there's no class conflicts that people are missing out on. And that's one of the perks about Gustavus is that we do truly prioritize the athlete experience, student athlete experience, and making sure that they are well rounded.
Brilliant. And how difficult then is that balance between academics and the athletics side? We talk about it at First Point as being the best of both worlds, but often the most challenging of both worlds. So do the athletes get a lot of support to be able to accommodate that balance?
Yeah, we have a ton of academic support and help, not even just inside of teams, but just academic advisors, tutoring centers. I want to say our athletic department GPA last year across 22 teams north of 3.55, which means pretty much A- average, maybe a couple B pluses mixed in there on average. And what we found is that if you're like a good person, a good athlete, that typically bleeds into you being a good student. Means you prioritize your time well, you manage those like, hey, like I'm gonna compartmentalize, focus on school between 9, 2:30, 3 o'clock. Like I'm gonna take care of my business there. And then when it comes time to step on the practice field, game field, you're dialed in on that from 3 to 5 o'clock. And then you're back kind of in that student athlete mode again, post practice, and making sure that you're doing the right things with your time management. And a lot of it is like, we believe you are what you surround yourself with at Gustavus. And that's when you surround yourself with student athletes that get to compete for championships, win championships. And then you're talking a ton of Dean's List students. Like, again, it's really easy to become those things that you like to see and be around with other people.
Fantastic. Thank you. And moving on, just talking about the facilities. And again, we talk about facilities a lot here at First Point and the opportunities that international athletes get to experience the incredible facilities at college sport in the States. What facilities do you have access to, or do the players have access to within the men's soccer program?
Yeah, absolutely. So with Gustavus being a little bit more like rural, we have a little bit more room for campus as a whole in general, which means a lot of room for expansion, athletic facilities. I know Tommy probably talked about the tennis bubble that we have is the only indoor tennis bubble, I think, in the state of Minnesota, especially for Division III schools. But for soccer purposes, so we have all grass natural practice pitch that we use strictly for games. We have 3 natural grass practice pitches that are located about 2 blocks like from where our game field is located, which is about a 3-minute walk from where our locker room is. Then we have a football turf stadium, which we're able to train and play on sometimes. And then as well as we have a turf baseball field as well. So like in our school, our conference, we have 4 or 5 schools that play on turf fields. So if we're playing against on the road against a turf team, we'll train on the football turf or the baseball turf for the 2 days leading up to it. So we're kind of used to that surface. And that's where we kind of have an embarrassment of riches at Gustavus. We also have a brand new Lund Center, which got completed in the spring of 2022, or maybe it was 2023. And that was phase one of an expansion. There's phase two and phase three as well. Phase three, I want to say, is an indoor field house, which will be again, very, very special for the Division III world. Not many schools and programs kind of get to have that, as well as 8 more full-time locker rooms where you'll be in your own locker room full-time. I'd highly encourage everyone to look out our Gustavus men's soccer Instagram post. You can kind of see our natural grass practice field as the story located for 2024, as well as our game field. We have full-time grounds crew that does a fantastic job maintaining the facilities that we get to have. We've hosted the NCAA tournament in 4 of the last 6 years, and typically they choose turf fields for that. But thankfully, since Gustavus's grass is so well maintained, they allow us to host on grass fields in the middle of winter, basically, and dealing with some snow even.
Sounds like a great place to work then as a soccer coach. Very, very jealous. Moving on to the kind of academic side then, and this might be something that Joy can chip in on as well. So for international students coming through us, speaking to you guys, what would be the kind of standout programs for particularly maybe for athletes? What are the most popular subjects or strongest courses to study for a degree at Gustavus?
Yeah, sure. Happy to answer that. We have very strong programs across the board. In terms of the largest majors that we have, our business programs are going to be our most popular majors, especially with our athletes. We developed a sports management major a couple years ago. And so that is really growing in popularity, especially for the athletes who have such an interest in working with the sporting world after their time playing here, right? So that's been very popular. Our biology pre-med programs are very strong. We have our psychological science programs as our third largest major, and then communication studies, but math and computer science, physics, pre-engineering. And then in the humanities, our history, English, religion programs. So really at these private liberal arts schools, our students have the opportunity to major in whatever they want and graduate in 4 years. And as Tyler mentioned, our student athletes have the highest GPAs on campus. So it's a very good collaboration between our professors, our faculty members who teach your classes. None of the classes are taught by teachers' assistants. It's all faculty, the majority with terminal degrees in their field, and their collaboration with our coaching staff as well.
Brilliant. Thanks for explaining that, Joy. That's helpful, and certainly for anyone interested, there's obviously a great variety of courses and majors to study in at Gustavus, and some popular ones with the student athletes, as you've said there. So on to the recruitment side then, and this would be one for Tyler, certainly initially. For you, what would an ideal candidate look like? I know you often talk about what you're looking for, both on the field and off the field. So what's a playing level and what kind of personality traits are you looking for in your candidates?
Yeah, so absolutely. I'd say obviously the recruiting landscape here in the US is slightly different than over in England, for example, or in Europe. For our recruiting, at least domestically, we look at a lot of MLS Next teams, which is MLS academies and other kind of top 50 clubs in the United States, and then ECNL platform. And then the way that kind of transfers over to international recruiting is we look to have people from professional academies around Europe, around England, and whether they bounced around doesn't matter, whatever tier that they fell into, if they were spending time with the U19s, U23s, whatever it might end up being. Just those kinds of experiences go a long way. I think everyone knows that recruiting internationally is a little bit harder because you don't get to see people play in person 5 times, but you get to make a choice. A lot of time you're going off of word of mouth from someone who you know maybe overseas, or just a highlight tape. That's why for me, like, highlight tapes are probably one of the biggest ways I use when it comes to evaluating our international prospective student athletes. Now, a lot of coaches, they don't really have 10 minutes to just watch one individual highlight tape. You probably have somewhere between 60 to 90 seconds to kind of get our actual attention. And if we like what we see in 60 to 90 seconds, yeah, we might end up watching the whole thing. But if we aren't hooked inside that first 90 seconds, the odds of us getting all the way to the end of the video are very, very low. And I'll say, again, when you only get to go off of highlight tape, it's a little bit harder as compared to when you get to see people maybe pass the eye test in person. You get to see a little bit more off the ball things. So it makes it a little bit trickier when it comes to recruiting internationally. That's what agencies like First Point do such a good job of coming in and connecting us with people that, hey, that we think this guy would be a really good fit at a top 50 private level art school. That would be a Division I soccer player level wise, but wants that holistic fit where they're going to play right away and then going to be a main player on a team and win awards and win championships. So I was kind of explaining, it's like I played 2 years of Division I soccer at a small mid-major state school, and my 2 years there, my team won 7 games. We were 7-24-4. We had a lot of guys that just wanted a Division I Instagram post. That's compared to maybe a holistic experience when they were there. My sophomore year, I led the team in goals and points, and we won 3 games. I would take wins over any kind of individual success that I could have had or wanted. Then I transferred to a Division III school for my junior and senior year. I went 42 wins, 3 losses, 3 ties my junior and senior year, Final Four my junior year, Elite Eight my senior year. I think you can probably tell which experience I maybe enjoyed a little bit more from winning those championships, making deep NCAA tournament runs, because that's where those lifelong memories, those bonds, and those friendships kind of come into play.
Absolutely, and that's a great insight into your own background and how that translates into how you recruit players. And I know a couple of questions maybe come in just about those assessing players, how we assess, and as you've said, that's something that we do for our clients and for our athletes is advise and help you edit your highlights reels so that we can make your profile stand out as much as possible for the coaches that are going to be looking at it, and hopefully that's where First Point can help you and guide you and advise you and also advise you on kind of what level we feel that you're going to be the best fit for. Great stuff. So sticking with recruitment then, again, this might be one for both of you. What are the recruitment timelines? I know we're obviously pretty late in the day for any 2026 intakes, but we've got quite a mix of age ranges probably on the webinar today. So what are the recruitment timelines that you guys work towards?
Yeah, absolutely. That's a great question. I'll say on the soccer side of things. So like I got hired January 31st last year, so we were recruiting up even into the beginning of the summer. This year we have 14 commits right now. We're not really identifying new players at this point in time for 2026 fall. But we're still talking to a couple of international people right now that are First Point athletes, and that film was fantastic. Great job connecting with them because of it, and their approach as well, just the knowledge that they bring forward has been absolutely fantastic. And then our timeline, we typically have done recruiting domestically by end of January. Internationally, it goes a little bit later, probably end of March-ish is kind of where we look at from an ideal timeline. I think it's a little bit easier to stick to those when you've been somewhere for 5 to 7 years. That's compared to maybe still looking to maybe round out and get your own guys in the room, kind of a thing. And then, Joy, you want to talk about what it looks like from an admissions perspective?
Sure, absolutely. So we don't have an early decision here, which is a positive thing, because if you apply here, it means you still have time to explore and get your questions answered. So we're not locking you into anything right away. From the international side of things, I start reviewing applications the first week of October. I typically like to really promote November 1st, which is our domestic deadline as well. So I like our international students to apply by November 1. If you don't, that's okay. We are absolutely reviewing applications. I do it on a bi-weekly basis throughout the year. Things that we look for, specifically your transcript, very important. The types of classes you've taken. We do not require SAT scores. So if you're not a great test taker, absolutely fine. We're going to look mostly at that transcript. And as Tyler mentioned before, this holistic environment that we offer here starts in admission. So we're doing a holistic review. I review them individually, word for word. So I absolutely appreciate what you put in your application as well. And we'll look for the Common App. We need your transcripts. Test scores optional. English proficiency scores can be waived for students who are fluent in English. And then the big piece that's different than domestic are certified financials. So we need students to prove the ability to pay a certain amount. Above, it's $30,000 minimum you have to prove every year. And we utilize parents' bank statements that they submit or tax returns. And then we do an admission process and automatically qualify you for financial aid. So $42,000 is the standard scholarship this year. for our international students, which takes off over half of the cost of attendance. And then on-campus employment, you're guaranteed a job here. That, as Tyler has athletes who are doing a work study here as well, right? So it's structured around your classroom time, your practice schedule time, your game schedule time, and you have the option to work on campus and earn money that comes directly to you. So that's the whole process. I probably got ahead of the game a little bit, but I just wanted to make sure all that information was out there as you guys plan to apply.
That's great. And you've touched upon working on campus, and that's one question that I've noted coming in. So what type of jobs could a student athlete or an international student athlete specifically work on campus?
Sure, I can, and I'm sure Tyler has some experience with our Lund Center employees as well, but our international students, it's anywhere on campus you can work. We have multiple job opportunities. You list kind of what your top 5 are. We help match you up. The marketplace, they tend to pay a little bit more there. But you can work in our athletic facility. You can work for different professors. You can work with our grounds crew. It's really wherever you want to work. And typically as students are moving through to their sophomore, junior, senior years, they can get a little bit more intentional about where they work if they want to work for a certain department within their major area or work for one of their coaches. Those options are present as well. So there's a large variety of places that student can work from semester to semester. And if they don't like a job at a certain location, you can request a different work opportunity. So Tyler, I don't know if you have specific students that work for you currently, but I'll let you talk about any of those experiences.
Yeah, so I've got a number of students that either work for me or for the athletic department. We have a student coach that does some individual private training with players. We've got an individual work who does our social media graphic designs. We have people that do event management that work other sporting event games because they want to work in sports management long term, whether that be managing facilities, game day operations. That kind of a thing looks good on a resume. We've got people that work in the library, like restocking bookshelves. Like there's it's endless amount of possibilities, and it truly is whatever you want for your speed. There's some people that work in labs to help with science experiments. Again, all about what furthers their own individual growth and development while fitting in with their schedule.
That's great. It sounds like some excellent opportunities and obviously good for building the CV as well. And what about internship opportunities? Again, I know a lot of colleges are really strong on that. When would someone have opportunities to go and work with an external company whilst they're at Gustavus?
Yes, the big thing that we in admissions promote and what all parents especially are looking for is your ROI, your return on investment, right? You're sending your child and paying for an education to move on to graduate school or med school or law school or obviously employment after, whether it's within the United States or a company abroad. The private liberal arts colleges do this best. And I think Gustavus especially sits at the top of all the private liberal arts colleges in how we, from day one, integrate our students with our career center, our internship office, our study abroad office. So the goal is not to just give you that academic experience within the classroom. Intentionally throughout your 4 years at Gustavus, we're working to build your CV or resume outside the classroom. So we're going to match you up with professional internships. Minneapolis-St. Paul has the largest number of corporate headquarters. Sorry, I'm pointing this way. This is north. They're north of us. They have the largest number of corporate headquarters in the United States. So many of our business majors, pre-med, any of our, really whatever your major is, there's opportunities up in the Twin Cities, which is about an hour away. Many of our graduates matriculate there directly after graduation and work up in the Twin Cities. We have international internships. We can set up internships in your home country. We require our students to do one of 4 things here: internship, a study abroad opportunity, a community engaged course, or a collaborative research project with a professor. So many will do multiple, and building that resume in tandem with that classroom time really leads to our high placement rate, which is over 90% of our students are placed at the career they want, the grad school, whether it's law school, med school, or other grad school that they want. or volunteering in something like the Peace Corps, right? Things like that. So the very high placement rate is directly reflective of those outside the classroom opportunities that we're developing in your 4 years here.
Brilliant. And that's great to hear. It might not be something that many of you are thinking about right now, and you might be completely focused on your soccer or your football, but obviously coming out of college or university with a degree and a job and experience in the workplace is immensely important. So it sounds like, again, Gustavus is a great place to develop and kind of build your future career path. So thanks for explaining that. So if someone was interested then in Gustavus men's soccer, then Tyler, how best could you position yourself to be an attractive prospect for yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. Number one is introduce yourself, attach your highlight tape to the email, have some original or non-chat GPT tidbit in the email about what interests you specifically about Gustavus and why you think it might be a good fit for you or what you know about us. And then we kind of take it from there. I like to think I'm not too scary of a person to reach out to or have a conversation with. And typically that's something that kind of comes through in these phone conversations. Being a younger head coach myself, a little bit more relatable, a little bit more recent college experience that is a little bit easier to connect with, less scary for some of our potential student athletes. So yeah, just introductory email, highlight tape, and then introductory phone call, which typically lasts around 30 minutes. That's just kind of, you get to know a little bit more about me know a little bit more about you. And that's not even just like the soccer side of things. That's about your life. Like, what do your parents do? What are your passions, your hobbies, your friends? Because we do truly preach that holistic approach. And that starts with our first conversation through your recruiting process and hopefully the next 18 months of it as well.
Brilliant. Great explanation for that. And again, obviously, first point, if you are working with us, we are here to help you on that front and guide you through that process and make sure your profile stands out as much as possible. And our role really is to provide you guys with the best candidates, the best fit candidates as well. So we obviously would put you forward if we felt that you were a good fit for Gustavus, both academically, athletically, and financially, and then in terms of what you want to study as well. So moving to the campus and Gustavus Adolphus College in more general terms, what would be kind of your USP? I mean, you've obviously touched upon quite a number of things already, but what makes you guys such a standout? I mean, you've got a list as long as your arm probably, but how would you best capture that for the audience?
Yeah, if I had to sum it up in one word, I would say the people, just whether that be the coaches, the players, the faculty, the staff. They truly love what they do, and it comes into what they bring into work every single day. You leave with positive interactions with every single person you come across on campus. And it's something I hadn't experienced at any of those schools I had played at or coached at. That's why for me, Gustavus is my forever home. And I think once people are on campus, they really get to feel that, like, hey, this is a home for me. It's not just like I'm a guest.
Yeah, it's the vibe, the vibe here. You get it when you step on campus. And for international students that can't visit, that's difficult to capture that, right? If you can't be here. But what we try to do is give you that feeling by connecting you. So if you're working with me, if you're working with Tyler, and let's say you're interested in a business major or you're interested in biology, we can connect you with a professor so you can talk to them directly, right? And get a feel for the program. If you want to talk to a current international student, we have many of them. We can connect you with not only somebody maybe in your major area, or you want to talk to one of Tyler's soccer players. The access that you have to people here, even at a high level, our president will walk around regularly and sit down in student meetings or, watch practice, one of the practices going on, or stop in our office. It's the accessibility of the people here and their willingness to help you succeed, not only here, but in the next part of your life. Writing your recommendations for, your job or your graduate school, helping to use their connections to match you up with your next step in life, right? We only get 4 years in college. We guarantee we'll get you out in 4 years, or we pay for the ninth semester.
Mm-hmm.
So we have a stake in that. And we know that the rest of your life is waiting. And this is really a springboard to that. I've worked here 20 years. I've traveled the world. I've worked other places. I came back here because it felt like home to me. And I absolutely believe in what we promote and do here. So we're here to help if you want to make any connections throughout your college search journey.
That's great. I think your passion really rings loud from both of you when you're speaking there, and I think that would certainly be captured if you were ever to go and visit Gustavus and meet the people as well. So thanks for that. You talked about some of the sort of professional pathways away from soccer. Tyler, you and I chatted before the call about some of the work that you do in professional soccer. So what opportunities exist if someone obviously was good enough in the first place? And I know we get quite a few questions about the pathways in soccer in the US beyond college. What would exist in terms of those professional team opportunities at either MLS or USL level?
Yeah, absolutely. So the way the pro pyramid works in the United States, you have MLS at the very top. Tier 2 is USL Championship. Tier 3 is USL 1. Tier 4 is USL 2. USL 2 is kind of a nice hybrid. It can be pro if you want it to be. It can be semi-pro if you're still in college. There's a pathway there. So I'm a USL 2 sporting director for a club in Minnesota as well. So it's one of the other hats I wear while I work. We have 5 players on our current Gustavus team that are playing USL 2 this summer against guys that have signed professional contracts, have been MLS draft picks. And that's just when you're in that top 10, top 15 Division III tier, you get those opportunities if you're one of the best players on the team. And we turn down a lot of Division I players that want to come and play for us just because they don't have the game minutes that's required. They don't have a good enough highlight tape, or if their coach doesn't value them at their college environment, why would they be good enough to come and make an impact for us now? So from that perspective, like there's nice pathways here, especially like in the Minnesota area, because we've got 3 USL 2 teams here, which is again that pre-pro or pro level of our pyramid. So it's a great launching point. I was saying before the call when you guys got on, I got to coach against 4 MLS draft picks this last summer. And for our college Division III players to play against MLS players is a very special thing.
Brilliant. Again, that hopefully answers a couple of the questions that we've had coming in, and for those with ambitions to play professional level soccer, then don't be kind of misled by the phrase D3. As Tyler said, there's obviously the playing levels are very, very high when you consider the playing against kind of MLS level players as well. So that's great for those with ambitions to go down that route as well. Great that we've had quite a few questions coming in. I've got another couple of questions before we move to the audience questions, and it's really about kind of preparation for that next step. So if someone's sitting on the call today, maybe kind of 12 months out or 18 months out from going, what should they be doing to be sort of college ready and get on your radar?
Yeah, absolutely. So like the biggest things for me that come preparation wise is you have to be a soccer junkie. You kind of got to eat, sleep, breathe the game. Like you can't just be going to practice twice a week and thinking you're going to come in and hit the ground running come the fall. Like you got to be playing a couple matches a week, training 4 or 5 times a week. You have to come in fit. Most college programs in the U.S. have some kind of fitness standard that you have to pass, either to be able to make the team, to be eligible to play in our exhibition games, or to be able to play in the real games come the fall. So just have to come in fit, have to come in technically sharp and with a good speed of play. And if you've done those things, you're already going to stand out in a positive way to give yourself a path forward.
Great. And Joy, from your perspective on the kind of academic side, then obviously studying hard and getting as good grades as you can.
Yes. Minimum GPA is 2.68 in the US grading system. So we're looking for that, but we're also looking, like I said, that holistic review. We love students who are involved, leadership. So if you're a soccer captain, sorry, I get when I'm switch back and forth between football and soccer when I'm talking between domestic and international students. So if I accidentally say football, you'll know what I mean. Okay. But yeah, just really that holistic review. We don't require recommendations here. We're really looking at that transcript. That's very important. And if you test well on the ACT, feel free to submit those scores. We'd like to see probably a 1200 or above verbal math. But if you don't, we're just going to highlight the classes you've taken and the grades you've received there. And then just that financial piece is important. Different schools have different requirements. And financially, we like our students to be able to prove a minimum of 30,000 or above. So you'll need to do that to get the visa approved, and we will help with that I-20 paperwork to obtain that F1 visa.
Great. Again, thanks for clarifying that. And final question before we move to the audience ones for you, Tyler. You've obviously worked with the Gusties as assistant coach and now head coach for the last 18 months or so. What are your ambitions for the program, and how do you see the next few years panning out? You obviously talked about it as a forever place to work. So what was the next few seasons hopefully hold in store for you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So the last season I was here before I came back was 2022. We went to the Elite Eight where we lost to the University of Chicago 1-0 on a penalty kick the year they won the national championship. That kind of springboarded my ultimate kind of head coaching journey for the first 2 years at Hamlin to come back. And with Gustavus having been in the NCAA tournament each of our 6 of the last 7 years, we are aiming to get back to that Elite Eight, that Final Four, that national championship game. There have been two schools in our conference that have ever appeared in a national championship game. It's St. Olaf College and then Gustavus. There's been, I want to say, 3 schools that have gone to Final Fours, and St. Thomas, which is now Division I though, and then Gustavus and St. Olaf. Thankfully, I got to do it as a player at St. Thomas. My twin brother did it as a coach at St. Olaf, and now I think it's my turn to do it again at Gustavus.
Brilliant. So hopefully we'll have a few players on the webinar tonight that can help Tyler with those ambitions and take the Gusties to the national title over the next few years. Okay, great. We'll cover a few of the questions that have come in. And the first one from Gabriella, is it the same for the women's soccer side of things? Apologies, we've obviously talked about men's soccer, but do you guys have a women's soccer program?
Yeah, we have a women's program as well. Fantastic program ran by Lauren Johnson. She was a former player at Gustavus. I want to say she was a grad in 2020. So that just kind of shows the connection that Gustavus has. It's people that are either there as players or there as assistant coaches. They always want to come back, just given how special the place is. I think even Joy had mentioned her background, and then obviously wanted to come back because, again, it's a place that feels like home. And then there's still a lot of also semi-pro opportunities in the summer for our women's pro players that are here in either the UPSL or WPSL as well as USL W League.
Great. And obviously on the Gustavus Athletics website, there's the men's and women's soccer pages that you can go on and kind of check out their rosters and the results and news and that sort of thing as well. Someone asked, are the costs of traveling to away games covered by you guys?
Yeah, all costs when you travel for away games are covered by the college. So we take 56. So we have a hotel trip coming up to opening weekend against University of Chicago and Edgewood College. So we'll travel on a bus on Thursday, spend the night Thursday night in a hotel, play Friday, spend Friday night in a hotel, travel to Chicago on Saturday from Madison, and then spend the night Saturday in a hotel, play Sunday morning, drive back. So you'll get 10 meals covered by the program, all 3 nights in the hotel covered by the program, bus travel covered by the program. So yeah, it's all free for you guys.
Great stuff. And a question I'll try and answer, someone asking around how you can best showcase your skills if you don't necessarily have match footage. So First Point run assessment trials predominantly here in the UK, but we have a team out in Australia over the next couple of weeks as well. We've recently run trials out in a few of the Middle East countries. We do work in lots of different international territories. So our trial events and assessment events are advertised on the website. Obviously, we can't cover every single country. So if you can, get match footage yourself, either through VOCam that your club might have, or even getting someone to kind of film your school match or club match, and then we can help you put a highlights reel together for you. So there are lots of different ways that you can be assessed, obviously by putting down who you're playing for, kind of what level you're playing for, divisions. We can again do a research into that and kind of try and assess what level and kind of recommend the best fit programs for you, whether that be Division III, Division II, Division I. But again, we have a vast network of coaches in addition to Tyler and his team at Gustavus, and we would try and sort of shortlist the best fits for you. So hopefully that answers that one.
Yeah, we get a lot of international emails, but I'd say north of 80% of the people that I'm recruiting that are international students come from First Point, just given the trust that I have in them and the relationship that Joy has had with them. So we're huge just proponents of First Point at Gustavus.
Great. And a good question back to what you're looking for maybe in an athlete. So beyond technical skills, what unconventional or less discussed aspects of player development do you find crucial for nurturing or looking at the kind of talent that's coming through? Obviously, that's maybe about the individual and some of their personality traits.
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the nice things about our team at Gustavus is we're a pretty ball dominant team. For example, the MIAC in general is probably one of the more ball dominant conferences you're going to come across in Division III soccer. There's some Division III conferences that are much more direct and much more physical, where they place a higher ability level on just athleticism and having him just be able to jump higher or run faster. So that's where I think I would highly encourage you guys. Most Division III programs have games streamed as well, so you could watch the team style play and see if you'd be a good fit, or you could ask a coach for game tape, for example, and like, how could I fit into that kind of system? So that's why for me, like, technical players kind of shine through the most. We're a team that tries to press really high up the field, though, so you still have to be athletic enough to cover the space and behind as a defender. We're going to build out of the back, so a goalkeeper's got to be comfortable with the ball at their feet. We kind of hit on tech. We have 4 kind of components where we look for in players: tactical, technical, fitness, and then speed of play. And those are kind of the 4 components we look at when it comes to players in the recruiting process.
That's great. Good to hear that explanation as well, and hopefully again that helps with anyone when they're kind of trying to put themselves forward for a program like Gustavus. One for Joy then, back to the kind of academic side. How does someone get a list of the courses offered and the individual requirements for those courses? Is that all online?
It's all online, and I can actually send a link if you'd like, so you can distribute that throughout.
Great. We'll put that in the follow-up newsletter with a recording of the webinar. And just for clarification, it's $30,000 rather than UK pounds, and that is your annual contribution to your tuition fees. And maybe just explain what's all covered in those fees as well.
Sure. So the overall, and there's usually we try to keep the increase with inflation to about 1 to 3%. We don't like to increase too much over the students' 4 years here. So this year, the overall cost is $72,934. What is included in there is your tuition, the room, so your dorm room, our food, our meal plan, which the food is phenomenal. It's 10th in the nation. I don't know how they get that ranking, but it sounds like a very fun job, right? To go around doing that. So, the food is fantastic. And we have different locations on campus where students can grab something to eat too. And then extra fees, which would be like a new student fee and orientation fee. We do also require our international students to take out our health insurance as well. And that actually went down this year. So next year it'll be at $2,406 per year. So a large significant part of that cost will be reduced through your $42,000 scholarship. If you are admitted to Gustavus as an international student, we know that you've done well in the classroom. We know that you'll do well here and be involved. And so that's an automatic upon admission. So that kind of is where then that $30,000 minimum comes in. If there are dual citizens in the audience, please know that if you do hold U.S. citizenship as well, even if you are living abroad, you can qualify for federal aid through the FAFSA and additional aid as well.
Okay, that's great. And again, hopefully that covers a couple of the questions that were coming in on the fees side. And again, we'll put some information in the follow-up newsletter. So I think we've got through pretty much all the kind of key questions. Again, some of the questions would be maybe a bit more generalist, and that's something that your First Point talent manager or sports consultant can answer for you. So if you do have any specific questions for us that you feel maybe haven't been answered by the guys on the call, then feel free to speak to one of our team. Obviously, if you are keen to put yourself forward, then build up your profile as much as you can. As I say, come along. If you've not been to one of our soccer assessment trials as yet, we do hold them on a regular basis, all featured on the website, and our scouts and coaches will be assessing your playing level and seeing if you would be a good enough fit for a team like Gustavus. Obviously playing at a high level, so we're looking for some very good, strong players out there to put forward to Tyler. So final question for me, just again for both of you. So what would be the kind of single most important piece of advice you would give someone, an international student athlete or prospective international student athlete who's looking to take forward a career in college soccer over the next couple of years?
Yeah, absolutely. Do a ton of research, know the differences between Division I, Division II, Division III. If you're not comfortable doing those things yourself, highly recommend working with an agency that can break those things down to you guys in a very simple, easy way. So like some questions in the chat, like Division III doesn't offer athletic scholarships, for example, whereas Division I, Division II does. But Division III typically offers a lot more like merit-based aid than some of those other schools do. So those balances and costs really do kind of balance out. So just highly encourage you to do as much research as possible and figure out what the best fit for you and your family is.
Great advice. Joy, do you want to add the final comment of the evening? I think we've possibly lost Joy. Maybe?
Ooh, that's a lot of pressure. Sure. I'll do my best. College is a unique time in your life. This is what I tell all students I sit down with. There is no other time in your life will you get to go somewhere with your parents, financial help most of the time, right? And try new things, continue to develop passions in things you love, right? To study and find out who you are and what you want to continue to do. And I think by truly embracing that experience, by not only academically and the things that you can achieve there, but by doing something that you love outside of that. And, for most of you on this call, it is soccer. Being able to combine that for 4 years to really maximize on who you are and develop your talent. It's something you won't ever get the opportunity to do at any other point in your life. So my advice would be to explore Gustavus further, explore the colleges you're looking at further. We have phenomenal virtual tours that you can do online. Our Lund Center athletic facility has a really cool drone footage. I can also include some video links to some of our shorter videos. We also have a virtual campus tour, and then utilize myself or Coach Oliver as connections if you want to talk to current international students or professors or get connected to some players. That's what we're here for. We're very intentional about who we work with. And if you think this would be a great fit for you, work with your First Point rep and ourselves to explore it further so we can see you here in a fall or 2 or 3.
Brilliant. That's a great summary, and thanks for that. And again, hopefully everyone on the webinar today has taken quite a lot from that. Some great insights, not only into Division III soccer, but also life as a Division I student athlete in general, and a student at Gustavus Adolphus College. Certainly, we love working with the team at Gustavus. There's some amazing opportunities over there, both on the soccer field and in the classroom. And as Joy said, it really is that best of both worlds opportunity for you to do something, certainly in this country and here in the UK, that you can't do. It is a pretty unique opportunity to play sport and study in the States at the same time, and no better place to be doing it than over with you guys. So I'd just like to thank you both for joining us today. It's been fantastic to hear all about it, and we wish you every success for the coming season. Hopefully you'll have a few more First Point soccer players on the team and first point athletes joining you over the next few years, and seeing some silverware and success coming to Gustie Athletics over the coming years.